going to show you how to do a braid. So I'm going to do a braid that kind of goes thicker at the top and goes a little bit thinner at the bottom, like a little ponytail. And the first thing you want to do is have some guidelines for the folds. So our hair, when it's in a braid, weaves back and forth on top of each other. So it's going to be a lot of overlaps. I'm going to be repeating some of the ideas that we did with the curls. So first off, I like to create a little bit of a diagonal guideline for myself. Just something like that to give me the idea of how the folds are gonna fold into each other. Like I said, I'm kind of like zooming in here to just give you a general idea. So the hair is, you know, when it's folded, it doesn't stay straight on the outside. What ends up happening is it has a little bit of a curve to it. So I'm gonna just kind of bring in how hair would like curve in now. So this is on top of this one, you know, and then this one, and they kind of just weave into each other. So where each of these are gonna start to overlap, we are going to see a little bit darker in these corners. So again, the shadow is gonna come from the edge of the form, and we're going to show the movement of the hairs as being kind of twisted and turning. So I'm just kind of giving you a guideline. You're gonna switch up how these like will fold into each other. So the ones on the right kind of follow. Everything is moving in towards the middle because that's where it's woven into itself. So these are just giving you some directions of how I'm going to bring in the values to the folds. So like I said, this part's weaving into here, this part's weaving in, right? They're all kind of going towards the middle. So that's the way I'm going to create my values. Same thing, like I started to develop values here and here. I'm working from the outside in. This center part is gonna have a highlight to it. I'm gonna start with values and then add texture. My values are gonna come from the edges and the corners. All right, so I'm gonna start to bring this out. So depending on the perspective that you're looking at a person, if you're seeing the braid straight on, if you're seeing the braid to a turn, the concept or the idea, you know, of this hair twisting into a spot and weaving around each other, creating shadows in the corners and the folds, and building it out from the shadows. All of these things still stay the same when you're drawing a braid, but you want to look at your reference and see how do you see the braid? Do you see it straight on? Do you see it off on the side? If somebody has a bunch of braids in their hair, it's gonna follow some of those same ideas that I talked about with the curls, which is define a few, but use the pattern of the braid to direct your pencil strokes or paint strokes or whatever material you're using. Just like with the hair, with the curls, I defined a couple closer to the face and on the outside, but in some areas I just used some marks to gesture where the curls would be. So I didn't do a whole strand. I was really going through and just bringing some of the values and highlights in a couple chunks of it. So when you're doing someone's portrait of somebody who has a bunch of braids, maybe defining a couple of them and then recreating the like chunks or the direction of the strands in other areas or define them all. It really is all about your creative choices that you make when you're creating your work and how much time you want to spend in it and focus on. So I'm going to just draw this braid. It's going to be one whole braid on a face of a woman. I'm going to do it kind of off to the side.